nights. We had 107,000 people show up for Corey, the firefighter. Butler, PA. And Elon wore it, and he had such a good, he spends all the time in these labs and stuff. It's like crazy. And when he got out, he said, I've never seen anything like this. He had the black MAGA hat on. Here's the good news. I sold 10,000 of those hats over the next week. I didn't even know we had black hats. We sold 10. There was a run on black MAGA, dark MAGA. And Byron liked it too, didn't you, Byron? Huh? Byron liked it. Byron looked beautiful in it. Huh? He looks good in anything. So that was something, I'll tell you. But that was an incredible salute to somebody that deserved it. A big Trump fan. And we raised him a lot of money too. We raised the family a lot of money because he deserved it. We have a man tonight. Maybe I'll introduce him really fast, just fast. He's a friend of mine, very successful guy. And I've known him for a long time. He's a member of a place called Mar-a-Lago. Nobody's ever heard of it. But he said, sir, do you mind if I give some money to the widow of Corey, the firefighter? I said, absolutely you should, because Corey had a great career, but it's not exactly, the money doesn't exactly flow in, right? So he hands me a check. And I didn't really look at it, just put it in my pocket. Then I got back home and I looked at it, $1 million. Dan, stand up, please. Stand up. What a nice thing. And then we raised another $4 or $5 million for the family and also for the two gentlemen that took hard hits. They took hard hits too. The doctors were incredible up there. These guys took 2 hard hits. These were big Trump fans and MAGA fans more than even Trump fans. And they know what we're doing is right, but boy, they got hit. But they were, in fact, we thought we lost 3 people and they made it. And we're giving them something substantial, but we wanted to take care of them all. So Corey was gone immediately, but it was amazing. But I want to thank you, Dan. That was nice, Dan. So we're going to have, in addition to taking care of our workers and lowering the taxes, we're going to also have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors. And I'm going to support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of their parent or loved one. And they deserve it, right? They deserve it. They're great. You know, if you didn't have people like that, you wouldn't have enough hospitals in this country. They do a job that's incredible, and they do it out of love. You don't have to worry about it. They do it out of love. So we're going to work on a good tax credit for them. We're going to get it done, too. So I will terminate the Green New Scam, and I will cut your energy prices in half. Within 12 months, your energy prices will be in exactly half. 50%. 50%. 50. To bring back millions of jobs, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. It won't be that way for long if we have idiots running it. It won't be that way. But right now we can say it. But only for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. They're the only ones that do. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a stiff tariff when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and our now protected companies. We're going to protect these companies so they don't leave us like they have been doing for 50 years. And we'll also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That's if China or any other country charges us 100 or 200% tariff or tax, then we will charge them a like 100 or 200% tariff or tax. called an eye for an eye. And you'll see everything just disappear. I will never apologize for defending America. I will protect our workers. I will protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our families. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Get out and vote. And as we rescue our economy, I will also restore our borders. We're going to have a border. We had the strongest border. Oh, wait. Bring down my all-time favorite chart. Bring it down. In history. I love that chart. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that chart, if I didn't look over to the right. I wouldn't be here. I love that chart. Even if the numbers were lousy, I would love that chart. But the numbers are the best ever. So the arrow, the big red arrow on the bottom, that arrow, that's an aggressive youngster. He's going to go places. He's going to go places. But that's my last day in office, and you look at what's happened. That was a Elon rocket ship after that day. Look what happens to that chart. Look what happens to that chart. That was the lowest illegal immigration that we've had. All they had to do, Biden, when he went to the beach, all he had to do is leave it alone. We had remain in Mexico. Nobody could come in. The head of Mexico president said to me, of course we won't do that. No, I said, you will do it. You will do it. He said, no, we won't let them remain in Tijuana. Hundreds of thousands of people coming up, pouring through our borders with the past administration. I said, no, you're going to do it. He said, I'm not going to do it. We had a good relationship. I liked the guy. He was a socialist, but that's okay. And I said, no, you're going to do it, because if you don't do it, I'm going to put 100% tariff on everything you're selling to us. And you're going to end. He said, what do you mean 100? I said, well, I'll start off at 10. I'm going to raise it to 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, and I'll stop at 100, I promise. That's more money than anything you ever heard. And he said, Donald, I would love to do as you request. I would love to. It'd be my great honor to have a policy of remain in Mexico. Over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon our people. The most egregious. It's disgusting what she did. She's violated her oath and eradicated our sovereign border and unleashed an army of migrant gangs. They're waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens like we've never suffered before. We've never had this before in our country. It's an invasion, ladies and gentlemen. It's an invasion. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. I said, why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them, I'm going to protect them from migrants coming in. I'm going to protect them from foreign countries that want to hit us with missiles and lots of other things. Remember, for 4 years we had no war other than I defeated ISIS, but I defeated ISIS and I felt like Brett Favre. I defeated ISIS in 4 weeks instead of 5 years, which they said it was going to take. Because we have a great military, we just didn't have any leadership at the top. I mean, in the office of the president, or even close to it. So I said, I'm going to defend and I'm going to protect women. I'm not going to let people go up to the suburbs or go into places where they live, whether it's suburbs or cities or farms. We're going to protect our women. At the border, we're going to protect our women. And also, we're going to protect our men and our children. We're going to protect everybody. Is there any woman in this giant stadium who would like not to be protected? Is there any woman in this stadium that wants to be protected by the president? I love these. You know, these women are from North Carolina. These women, they've been to 251 rallies. Look how beautiful they are. And they're all happily married. They're beautiful husbands. I saw them once. But you know, I never see their husbands. I only see them. Look at them. They travel all over the country. This is at least a pretty close one. This is, I mean, they go to California. They're incredible women. I think they have a good home life. I'm not exactly sure. No, their husbands are great, but I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like 251. Can you believe it? And we have front row Joes here, too. They've been to like 400. We got a lot of it's good to see you. These are great people. They're patriots, I will tell you. And they're very successful people, very successful people. And we have Mr. Wall here someplace. He's great. He has the wall. I'm going to use that suit someday when I come out. But and it's representative. We've built 571 miles of wall on the southern border. And Mexico paid for it by supplying us with soldiers free of charge, more money than, because technically you can't get them to build the wall if you own the wall, which unfortunately we couldn't work out, but I did better. We got their soldiers and they protected us while we were building it, and they still protect us to a certain extent. So I want to thank, we've had a good relationship with Mexico, but they're going to have to do a better job. We're losing much more than 100,000 people a year to fentanyl coming in from China and then through Mexico. We're going to talk to Mexico very early in our discussions. We're maybe like the first day, one of the very first calls I'm going to make, because we cannot let fentanyl come into our country. Can't let it come in. And I'm talking to China, too. I'll call President Xi. We had a deal, President Xi and I, and then we had the whole thing come in with the China virus, right? But we had a deal with President Xi. He was going to give the death penalty to anybody producing fentanyl and sending it into the United States. But of course, when Biden took over, it didn't mean anything. Just like the Abraham Accords, we had 4 countries. I would have had that filled. We would have had peace in the Middle East. They didn't do anything. They just sat there with it. So, you know, we'll get it all taken care of as soon as we get in. But today I want you to hear directly from a mother whose world was absolutely shattered. This is a sad thing. I've had it for one day, and everybody that's seen it, they end up crying. Strong, tough guys, they end up crying. It's so sad, and it's emblematic of what's happening in our country. By thousands and thousands of people are being killed. This was a young, beautiful girl. Please watch.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed. not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah. We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Joselyn's death. The men accused of killing Joselyn Nung are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Joselyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter. She failed Joselyn. You know, she was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
This is what we're letting into our country, and this is times thousands, all different forms, all different ages, but by thousands and thousands of people are being killed, being mutilated. The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends, and the restoration of our country begins. Thank you. The savages charged with brutalizing and murdering precious Joselyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, that's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing violent killing sprees all over America. They took over, as you know, in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. They took over a big section, apartment complexes and others. And they're all over the country. They're even in Times Square in New York City now, and we're getting them the hell out. Take a look.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America.
It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over.
by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Joselyn Nung.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Joselyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders. He was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
This is what we're letting into our country with no control whatsoever. We have no idea who they are. They don't check them. There's no vetting. There's no nothing. They're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. Last month, I was in the beautiful small town of Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, where police arrested a Tren de Aragua gang member who crossed Kamala's wide open border. Just come on in. And then came into your state and held a mother and daughter captive against their will and sexually assaulted them again and again and again and did great harm to both. Just last week, an illegal alien driving an SUV hit a 60-year-old retired Green Bay police officer as he was helping two drivers by the side of the road. Instead of helping his critically injured victim, the illegal alien, who had a can of beer in his passenger seat and lots of cans of beer and plenty of other things in the car, got out of his car and ran away, leaving the retired policeman to die and bleed to death. We're praying for his family. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. And on day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. We have no choice. It's not sustainable for any country. It's not sustainable what's happening to us. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered. We are being invaded, and we are being conquered, just like it was a military operation. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country very rapidly. To expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Can you believe 1798? That's when we had people that wanted to protect their people. We have to go back a long way. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network, and every single one of them operating on American soil. And there are many. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I am hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America. They'll be banned. With their open borders, they're going to destroy your Social Security and Medicare. They're destroying your Social Security and Medicare. They are going to do it, and I don't think they care. But I'm going to save it all, and I'm going to, more importantly and most importantly, we're going to save our country. We're going to save our country. Kamala's gross incompetence. Her gross incompetence disqualifies her from being President of the United States of America. She's incompetent. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. And to make her president would be a gamble with the lives of millions and millions of people. She would get us into a third world war. She doesn't know how to talk to these people. They would laugh at her. They would laugh at her because she's so grossly incompetent to do the job. She's not going to be able to do the job. And everybody that knows her agrees that 5 months ago, they said there's no way she could be running for president. She's incompetent. And then she runs, and because she's a member of this savage machine known as the Democrat Party, and then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting drafted to fight these endless wars that we've been in. I've gotten us out of so many. I was the only president, think of this, in 82 years not to start a war. We dealt with peace through strength. Our enemies are laughing at her. If we win, America will be feared and respected again. Feared's okay. On issue after issue, Kamala broke it, and I will fix it. I will fix it, and I'll fix it fast. On top of it all, Kamala says that she would not do one thing differently from crooked Joe Biden, which in itself is disqualifying. I wouldn't do one thing differently. Take a look, please.